gasoline I smell?
Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel, guys. I hope you are doing amazing as always, and it's me, Joe, as always. And today, guys, I want to talk about Scream 6, but to be exact, today I want to talk about reviews for Scream 6 because some people really like the movie. I'd say that the majority of people that I had a chance to talk to said to me that they really do like the movie and they think it's pretty decent. My thoughts about the movie. I quite like it. I am not the biggest fan of the ending of the movie, but overall, I quite like Scream 6. I'd say that it is, a pretty decent horror movie. But today I want to read some really negative reviews, or like to be more exact, rotten reviews on Rotten Tomatoes, because I want to know, people's thoughts, or to be more exact, critics' thoughts about this movie, right? So that's what I want to do today. Now, before we get into it, guys, hit the like button, or if you're new here, subscribe to the channel. It helps me a lot, so thank you so much for doing that. And now let's get right into reading some of these negative reviews. So the first one is from MovieWeb, and they said following. Scream 6 tries to straddle the line between mocking horror tropes and paying homage to the established narrative. The attempt at cleverness fails when ostensibly smart characters do the same insane things to put their lives in danger. Yeah, this is definitely something that makes sense. I don't actually hate this review at all. This is something that was an issue for me in Scream 5, where in Scream 5, some characters were just pretty dumb. In this one, I thought that it was handled a bit better. It's at the end of the day, it's still a horror movie, right? And in horror movies, characters have to die somehow. They can't be so smart. So I think that it makes sense because at the end of the day, it's still a horror movie, so you have to kill these characters somehow. But yeah, I partially agree with this, especially talking about Scream 5, where I think there were some pretty stupid character decisions there. Another rotten review is from North Shore Movies, and they wrote following. Boasts the funniest fake New York location since Jackie Chan looked out upon the mountains vistas of Rumble in the Bronx. This is something that I wanted to talk about, actually, that the locations, because I've heard people say that the locations in Scream 6, the New York locations in Scream 6, obviously, look fake, and I wouldn't say that. Now, obviously, I'm not from New York, right? So I don't know, but the locations to me felt pretty real. I actually want to know your thoughts about this, guys. Do you think that the locations in Scream 6 look fake? I don't think they look fake at all. I actually quite enjoyed all the locations in Scream 6, and I think the production design of Scream 6 was actually pretty good. So I don't quite get this. But some people had issues with the fake lookiness of the locations, which I didn't. Another rotten review from Fresh Fiction. Despite better constructed set pieces, these characters, their connections, and their conundrums are stretched paper thin, leading us to feel disconnected from their slaughter, let alone their survival. Again, I don't really agree with this because I actually really enjoyed the character development in Scream 6, and I thought that it was much better than in Scream 5. Because, like, in Scream 5, the character development was almost non existent. At least that's my opinion, okay? In Scream 6, I thought that it was done much better, and I thought that the characters finally gained some depth and I thought that it worked really well. So again, I disagree. I disagree. Okay, I thought that the characters were actually again developed much better than they were in Scream 5. Another review from the Slant magazine, and they wrote following. It simply picks up the baton from the previous film, relying on a series of increasingly nasty and at times exciting kills to thrill audiences, while leaving everything in between to feel as fake as its vision of the Big Apple. That's brutal. This is a brutal review, and Slant magazine gave it a 2 out of 4. So 50%, essentially, in the percentage scale. No, I wait, I don't get this. Exciting kills to thrill audiences, and that's bad, because yeah, like Scream 6 is pretty brutal, it is pretty gory and stuff, but I don't get why that should be like a bad thing, especially when they wrote that it's like to thrill audiences, and kills are definitely one of the things that is really good about Scream 6 are the kills, and I think they are really, really good. So I don't get this. And again, another person talking about fake New York City. I don't know. I thought that the sets looked pretty okay. The production design looked pretty good to me. So again, I'm surprised that so many critics just hate how New York City is portrayed in Scream 6. That is interesting. All right, let's see another negative, rotten review. Washington Post. They wrote following. What was once refreshing grows stale when it is repeated again and again. 1.5 out of 4. That's also like pretty brutal. And honestly, this is another thing that I just don't get. Is when people say, oh, this is just the same thing over and over again. Yeah, because it's Scream. You'll always have some people and a killer in a ghost face mask. That's how Scream movies work. It's the same way how Halloween movies work. You'll always have some people and then Michael Myers, killing those people in every movie. That's how these movies work, right? So, trying to, and I think that they actually tried to do something different with Scream 6, and I think they made it, a much more fresher entry to the franchise. Because of that, I think they did a lot of great things in Scream 6. So I definitely don't think that Scream 6 feels stale or tiring or, it's like, oh, it's like the same thing. No, I don't feel that way at all about Scream 6. So, and again, this whole thing that is like again and again and again. Halloween, Friday the 13th, all these franchises have, a certain pattern about them. And you can't break the pattern because that's what makes these franchises, these memorable franchises, right? That's what makes them, So I don't know. I don't get it. Let's move to another rotten review. Let's see here. Okay, another one from Drum Dums. I actually watched this guy quite a lot. Back when I was like 15, I actually really enjoyed his horror, videos. And he gave it a rotten review. I'm gonna probably have to watch that review because that's interesting. But he wrote following. Scream 6 is plagued by a weak script, thin character development, and a plot armor of the ridiculous kind. It's still very much a Scream movie, and maybe that's part of the problem. It succeeds at being different, but ultimately for nothing. 5 out of 10. That's a brutal review. That's like a really brutal review, honestly. And I wouldn't say that Scream 6... Again, I would argue that Scream 6 has like a really strong character development, actually. I think the character development in Scream 6 is actually pretty good, so I would say a thin character development, absolutely not. Weak script. I'm not the biggest fan of the ending of the movie, so but I thought that the script from the majority of the movie was actually pretty good, and I thought that it was well written and again better than Scream 5. But that's just my opinion. But yeah, guys, this is essentially it for these rotten reviews of Scream 6. I wanted to sort of like know what people that don't like this movie what they don't like, what is it they don't like, what is it they hate about this movie. And so now we know. And a lot of people think that this movie feels fake in a way how it's portraying New York. Also, some people think that the script is weak. Some people think that it's the same thing over and over again. A lot of stuff, But yeah, it is always like interesting to read these negative reviews just to know what people don't like about a movie you like, for example. I think it's interesting. Anyway, guys, that's all for today. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one. Take care as always, and bye.